when the Buddha was destroyed. Okay, the whole world cried when the cathedral in Paris was on fire, and everybody was posting about that. Okay, and no one is crying about, okay, the history about, of course, Christianity. It's founded by slavery, and no one is talking about. So of course, I'm going to get called upon that. Oh, we're talking about the slavery of blacks. It's their time now. I recognize that. I recognize their grievances. But what I don't approve of, and I have difficulty understanding it, is the utter destruction, the defacing, the violence, the crime associated to this protest. Oh, so of course, the guys, well, it's not a protester. Yeah, but the crime associated to it.
Right. So I almost never, ever, well, I make it a point always to never discuss politics at work, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a rule of thumb, right?
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So at lunch today, one of the guys brought up that he had gone to the protest and the rioting in Boston. Mm-hmm. And so needless to say, the whole conversation got started. And I asked a simple question like, why did you go to the riot part of it and not the peaceful protest part of it earlier in the day?
Yeah.
And he said something very, very intriguing that really made me think. He's like, he's about 27, 28, so he's right in that everyone gets a trophy generation.
Yeah.
He said people riot and do the looting because that's their way when their protests aren't heard. So they feel compelled that they need to riot, so then their message will be heard. And I said, well, you decided to go to the riot and not to the protest. So how do you know that the protest wasn't heard?
Yeah.
As opposed to going to the riot. And then he got on the whole thing of, well, if the cops the cops aren't ever held accountable and they can just freely shoot people and, they get away with it. Like, that's not true. You clearly know that that's not true.
Yeah.
Everybody, whether you're a police officer or a civilian, we have a rule of law in this country.
Yeah.
Like our rule of law is that you're innocent until proven guilty. And, that's the riots right now are all based upon an assumption of guilt for being white, a guilt that if you're a police officer, you're bad. It's the flagrant disregard for the law, not only based upon their behaviors and actions of rioting, which is the unlawful assembly of protesting, that you lose all credibility because you're going off the assumption of guilt.
Yeah.
People complain. People of color complain that they're being oppressed and that they're being more highly targeted. Because we're for whatever reason. And I said, well, that may be, and it could be a presumption of guilt, which is wrong, but it's not illegal for someone to have a presumption of guilt. If I see someone on TV saying this person was arrested and was charged with robbing a bank,
mm-hmm.
As a human being, regardless of color, black, white, yellow, purple, green, orange, it doesn't matter. I see the news story, I'm going to go, yeah, he's guilty. For whatever reason, my internal gut says, yeah, he's guilty. He did it. Whatever. He was caught with a big bag of cash.
Okay.
So, you're working off the presumption of guilt.
Yeah.
And that defines this whole riot process right now. The destruction of property, the pulling down of statues, and I saw the U.S. Army protecting like the Jefferson Memorial and the Lincoln Memorial. I saw that on TV earlier. Like, it's gotten to that extent where you need the military to protect the things that built this country, that gave them the rights to protest. Not necessarily to riot, but to protest. There are countries, as you know, where you can't do that because the police will shut you down and take you out.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just appalled that both parties are not doing much about it.
Yeah.
Both the Republican and the Democrats, they're not doing much about it.
I think it's almost like a wait, like they're both waiting for the other to do something, like they want both. I think both parties want to do something, but I think they're both waiting for the other to make the first move, which is just idiotic. Where I think our president really needs to step up and say, "All right, look, let's do something."
It's
like that.
It's ridiculous, and I'm very liberal when it comes to a lot of social issues. But the fact that we are losing, the respect for authority. We are disregarding government, the power of the government. You work for us, so we can do whatever the hell we want. I mean, that's basically what's going on right now.
And the unfortunate end to that statement is, and they're letting them get away with it. Like therein lies the root of the problem. I think and I said this weeks ago, I said once one city starts rioting and they see the quote success that they had, other cities are going to do the same thing. And sure enough, it pops around all around the country.
Yeah.
And I think the challenge lies is that where before for a week and a half,
mm-hmm.
it was all rioting all the time, right? You turned on any news station, any cable news network, and there it was in your face. And I remember Shannon and I staying up till midnight, 1 a.m. watching the rioting. What's going to happen next? It's like a car accident, right? You know what's going to happen, but you just got to watch.
Yeah.
And now it's gone. Like, you don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
So it went from rioting to now the movement has shifted from the rioting and looting to now defacing and removal of things that are quote offensive.
Yeah.
It is it offensive? It could be to some people, but that doesn't erase the fact that it happened.
That's correct.
That's the point. You can't. It's a symbol of what happened.
Yes.
It could be something like, I see World War II memorials getting defaced. I see, just things like that in general just being destroyed. That doesn't eliminate the fact of what actually happened.
Yeah.
If you choose to ignore something, that
it's
doesn't
going
mean
to repeat
it goes away.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's like, by removing the removal of these statues, I know that theirs are just symbols. It's not, you are not erasing history. You cannot erase history by removing all the statues.
And that's the ignorance of the whole process that's happening, is that they feel that they are. Well, if we remove the Confederate flag, it never happened. And if we remove the Confederate flag and everything that has to do with these Confederate generals and all of these, statues that are here, that it's going to eliminate the everything that has to do with racism and systemic racism. It's going to move it forward. Well, no, because what's going to happen, and it's back to your child analogy, right? If a child gets away with something, they're going to continue that behavior.
That's correct.
Because they know they'll get away with it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's correct.
And that's the behavior that we're building right now with these people. We're allowing as a government, as a society, to make the rules, ignore the laws, and do whatever the hell they want.
But no one is acting upon it, though. No one, I mean, against it. No one.
Exactly.
I don't say anybody.
Right. And as soon as someone does, as soon as a group of individuals stands up for what they think is right, all of a sudden they're white supremacists and they're neo-Nazis. And again, like my friend who couldn't, continue a rational discussion. Well, you know what? You're just a systemic racist. And that's the answer to everything. So someone comes out and says, you know what? This isn't right. And I'm going to stand up for what's right. And I'm going to stand my ground. And I'm going to protect this business, or I'm going to protect the statue. And they're not going to pull it down. They're not going to deface it. We're going to defend it because we feel it's right. And the part of the and that's where the challenge lies, is that if they can't do that statue, they're going to move on to another statue because we're allowing this behavior to happen. So if we fast forward to 6 months, it's not going to go away.
No.
Because they're going to continue every day, every week, every month.
No.
They're going to continue this behavior until that parent slaps them on the ass and says, cut it out.
Yeah. No one is doing anything, and I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed from both the Republican and the Democratic Party. I'm very disappointed.
Are sucky right now.
No, it's like what they're just thinking basically about this election. You know what? It's like this election is not worth even going to if you cannot even settle what is happening now.
Right. So this is my prediction. This is my prediction. I'm going to say it right here. Mm-hmm. It is, what's today's date? It is the June 24th.
Yeah.
2020. I'm going to predict it right now. Between Election Day and the end of the year, if this rioting and looting and destruction of property and all of these felonious behaviors continue, some city like Los Angeles or New York or Atlanta or Minneapolis, one of these cities will declare martial law and shut everything down completely. No one allowed on the streets, no one allowed out, at all. You have 48 hours to get all the materials that you need to survive until we bring it up. You buy your food, whatever it may be. Like, you can't go to the grocery store, you can't get gas because you're not driving anywhere. They're going to shut everything down. And if you're out and about, you're wandering, you're getting arrested. And you're going to jail. And you're going to sit in jail under martial law until they decide you're done.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. It's going to happen because if they're not taking actions and steps now with the degree of violence and criminal activity that's happening right now, then sure as hell it's going to continue. Unfortunately, as it gets into fall, as it gets colder at night, then you're going to see the activity die down because it's cold. But in some of these southern states, where even in the dead of winter, it's not cold. You're gonna see one of these cities shut down completely. I'm telling you, martial law will be declared somewhere in the U.S. before the end of the year.
Well, I hope not. I live in New York.
I hope I'm wrong. Yeah. I hope I'm wrong. But you know what? The behaviors that the parents, the government,
and we have a bloody pandemic.
And on top of we have a pandemic.
Yeah.
And don't even get me started on that in the test results coming back positive and all this stuff. The Newsweek on the same webpage had an article saying the riots over the last month or so have not shown any increase in positive COVID testing since the start of all the protesting and rioting. And then the next article down said huge spike of positive COVID tests after the Trump rally in Ohio.